Hello and welcome to This Week in Property. In today's show, I'm delighted to say I'm actually speaking to people I've already spoken to because through a whole trauma that I won't bore you with, dear viewers and listeners, we've had to come together again and have another interview and you're going to enjoy it because I loved it the first time. I'm going to love it a second time because this is an interview that's really going to give you an international feel. Because we all know about the UK property market. We know how good it is to invest in it, but how easy is it to invest in it? Could you actually do it from abroad? Could you do it from overseas with different flavors and all sorts of challenges involved? The answer is yes. And you don't need a miracle. That's not a pun, because from Miracle Properties, today we have, from left to right on the screen, you'll see Emily and Nana. Hello again, guys. How are we?
Hi again.
Hi. We're good. And you?
We are fantastic. Yeah, I'm really glad you were able to come together again and see us because I want the listeners, want the viewers to hear your story because it's quite amazing. It's got that international feel. Now, Emily, let's start with you because let's bring Sweden into the picture. Let's bring Dad into the picture and how the wonderful world of property seeped into your life. Could you share with the listeners the story you've already told me about your dad and the wonderful country of Sweden?
Yeah, it is a wonderful country besides the weather. It's like the UK with the weather, maybe a little bit colder. No. Yeah, but like I told you last time, I love properties. That's my passion. Since I was a very, very young kid, I was with my dad. He built our home when I was a kid, and he built the home he lives in today. And he's a very good builder. And I was with him on the roof, knocking on the roof with a little hammer, kids hammer. And since that day, I've just been like into property and into decorating and all of this stuff. So I've been decorating the house every week since I was a kid. My mom got fed up with me sometimes, and I'm still doing it today. Nana gets fed up with me as well. So I pulled him into property because, I needed to do that.
Good on you. So there you go. So we've got the UK property market. We've brought Sweden in, and now we're going to bring the US in. Now, Nana, you were dragged into this whole property world, kicking and screaming. But there was a special moment for you. If we can bring in Los Angeles and the hills around Los Angeles, what was that defining moment for yourself?
So the defining moment was when we were in LA, like you mentioned, and we were getting our first daughter. She's not here. It's just Celeste here today. Celine. So I was wandering around and just thinking me and Emily need to find something that we like to do, and we don't want to work this 9 to 5 till we 65. And we need to start doing a business or something. And every time we went out with her friend that knew a lot of business owner, they all owned real estate. So after that trip, we went home and I told Emily, let's do US, but she wasn't so keen on it because she said time different law in every state. It's like different countries and and instead I went to a seminar here in Gothenburg, actually, Rich Dad Poor Dad brand. And I came back home and I told Emily, like I called her and said, I bought your push present. So I don't know if you know what push present is, but that's something they do in the US. They buy the female who have given birth to your child a present. So I bought her that present and said, we're going to Stockholm 3 days, gonna learn about UK property. And she was like, okay.
I was thinking Sweden property, but yeah.
And
as long as it's property, right?
Exactly.
And since then we've just hit the road running. So went to UK at the mentorship, brought Celine. People said that, can't you wait? And we were like, no, why should we wait? It's a family business. So we brought her, we went all up to Scotland, drove down again, and yeah, 2 weeks. It was very knowledgeable and interesting trip. And I liked it.
It was a great way of doing it. If you're gonna invest remotely,
Yeah.
it is very good to go over. And we went from London to Glasgow by car, so we
Fantastic.
saw pretty much the whole of England at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tremendous. And here, this is the studio here in Glasgow, so we've connected all the dots around the world. It's tremendous. We've got LA, we've got London, we've got Glasgow, we've got Sweden, Gothenburg. This is tremendous. And it really does show you're a great example of what is actually possible, because people put so many limitations. Well, I don't have the time. Well, I'm too far away. Well, no, here's a whole family. I mean, Nana touched upon this. It's a whole family business of really doing something, going after something, and designing your whole future, your whole career together, which is just beautiful.
Yeah.
And talking of beautiful, so anyone listening in, it's not Nana and Emily making some strange noises now and again. This is the beautiful young Celeste, who's just out of camera at the moment. She's actually the mastermind behind the entire business. You might be seeing her making an appearance. So, UK property. Why? Is it because of everything that we know and love about it? It's on an island, the supply and demand, the constant kind of almost slow but conservative, reliable property prices, etc. Is that the whole background for yourselves?
So I got blown away when I went to this seminar, 3-hour seminar with my friend, and it was all of the stuff that you could do, like lease option and it's so close to Sweden as well. It's just 1 hour from here. We take the plane and we're in London, and then if we go to Glasgow, I think it's 1.5 hours or something. So it's so close.
Yeah. And the way they think about property as an asset. Here you go to the bank and you say, oh, I'm into property. I have a company, I'm going to invest. Can you help me with a mortgage? They will be like, yeah, if you put in 50%, because it's a risk.
Yeah.
Any property business here is a risk.
Yeah.
And especially if you're a private property investor, if you're not one of the big companies here in Sweden.
Sure.
Yeah. So the entry level in UK and the laws in the UK are much nicer to private investors than they are here in Sweden. It's you will be like, oh, how can anybody do property in Sweden if you do all the laws and regulation when it comes to the rent you can put up and all of this stuff as well.
And especially also the lenders here in Sweden, they don't want to get overexposed. So you might just maybe buying 2-3 properties in Sweden, and then they say, no, we cannot lend you anymore. You're too much a risk. Right. So while in UK, you can just open up a new company. Let's say if they have like a cap on 500,000, you just open up a new company and purchasing properties in that one, and they're fine with it. While in Sweden, it doesn't matter if you go and open another company, because they say, no, you already have too many assets in this company, so we don't want to put in a risk. So that's also, I think it's different type of mindset, or if we're gonna say UK, it's more capitalist than Sweden.
Gotcha. That's fascinating differences. It's incredible. It really is. And when it comes to the property, I know you guys usually look at short-term strategies, some flips, redevelopments, etc. You've got your longer terms, quite an interest in HMOs, for example. Can you share some of the ways that you look at your business and what you have in mind when you do your investing?
Yeah. So we, as you mentioned, so the short term is like the rent to rents that we are having. So it's giving us cash flow, and it's paying us like the business in itself, like legal fees, investor, interest rate, and all of this. And then we have like the things that we keep, the buy to lets, and we're looking into doing like you mentioned, conversions and etc. And we've done a flip. So we basically tried almost every strategy now, and we're like trying to gel now and find our place.
Right.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so that we're basically having the rents to pay the business, the ongoing business costs, and then we're building a legacy for the to leave the kids and to live up, to have the time to be with the kids instead of working. Pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that really is important to you, isn't it? It's not just the business aspect, the money, the entrepreneurship, which is exciting and fun, but it really is the the lifestyle, the time with the children, being able to travel. It's always been a big important thing to the both of you.
Yeah.
We love travel.
Yeah.
So this COVID stuff, like last year, we were so happy that we went on a cruise because her mom turned 70. So she took us all on a cruise. So it was 5 days in Miami, and then 11 days on a cruise going to the Caribbean and Colombia, all of these places. So we're like, okay, this year we can sit it out. It's all right. We can sit it out. But this year it's very itching. But as Emily mentioned before, Sweden is a very beautiful country, especially in the summer when you can do stuff. So it's been all right, but I'm telling you, it's itching. But we don't want to travel where you wearing face mask and distance. It all destroyed the enjoyment of travel.
Yeah, and also it's not just about the traveling itself, it's actually spending time with the family. That's the important part of it for us. And that's everybody's talking about, you need a reason why to do it. And that's especially important if you're doing it overseas.
Yes.
Because we're not there to touch on everything, to kick the solicitor's butt when they don't do what we want, and etc. So you really need to stay focused and have a clear why you're doing this. And for us, that is family. And we both know that time is not guaranteed forever. We lost our siblings at a young age. We know that it can end anytime. We need to take advantage of the time we have here. So that's why we got into it, and why we pushing every day to buy more properties. And in the end, we're hoping to extend to other countries as well. Maybe we will end up in the US.
Not maybe.
Don't give in.
We'll come back, Richard.
Oh, fantastic. I knew you would. You see, you're playing the long game. No, you're playing the long game. Just slowly pulling up towards the US. Tremendous stuff. Do you think, you mentioned obviously losing siblings and so on, do you think those moments in life, have they given you that perspective? Is that where you get your drive from, your determination from?
Yeah, I think we both said when we were gonna have Celine, our oldest daughter, we both said, okay, we need to do something that makes us able to spend time with the kids and give them as much as possible of us. Because the material thing is like, you need money to live and do stuff and give the memories maybe of traveling and stuff like that. But we're not very materialistic of us as persons. We want the time. That's the most important thing. And I think that's what we learned when we lost siblings. Like, we need to give them the time because nobody knows.
From my end, actually, I just saw my dad. He turned 63 when he died, and he was looking so forward to pension. And I saw how he was like enjoying, oh, I'm going to pension now, it's just 1-2 years, and he was already doing like half-time working, half-time pension, because he was planning, and then he went away, and that just like in my head was like, wow, he was like really striving to get to this pension and being free, and he had started to buy stuff and move it to Ghana, because that's where he was going to go in pension, etc. And I'm like, no, life can just end like that. You need to live, and at the same time build something sustainable that you can leave to your kids as well. So
and the good part about doing it overseas from the start is that we need to be passive on it. So we need to have a system that makes us passive from the start.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that it makes us put in a system from the start to have more time with the kids and the family. So
Yeah.
it's a great way actually to start to do it remotely. Then you don't need to be hands-on.
Yeah, yeah, and that's true. Yeah, you know, some would look at those things as, well, that's an obstacle. Well, yeah, it is. But guess what? That obstacle is forcing us to do something. It's forcing us to get our business set up properly. It's forcing us to be systemized and structured. I think, did you also mention the last time you're doing some outsourcing, working with the Philippines and so on? Were you explaining that to me in the past? Yeah, yeah. And really taking advantage of, you know, proper business structures. And freeing yourself up so that you can work on the business and not in the business.
Yeah. So we have two actually virtual assistants from the Philippines. So they actually help us with time-consuming stuff, like searching properties, calling the agent, do the research on the areas, like giving us all the data that we can find now in this digital world. So, and they summarize it for us, and that's so you know, when you just come home and you maybe go on a Sunday and you just go through it like 20 minutes and you know what have happened, or if it's something that they find like a deal, okay, this is the numbers, I suggest you recall them and put in an offer. I've already asked them this questions. So it's very, very nice to have this system, and they're not so expensive. That's the bonus for us. So we get to have more time together.
Yeah. They also a great help when it comes to choosing a movie for Friday nights. That's a standard question that Nana asks them on Fridays. Do you have any good movies? One movie every Friday.
But outsourcing all decisions, I love it. I love it. It's amazing. It's an amazing story that you have. You know, you're a real example of what is possible. You know, when you put your mind to it, what could you actually achieve? How could you actually set up something? How could you actually structure a business? It's an amazing story to hear. It really is. What's been some of the biggest challenges? We've spoken just before we started recording about, you know, the usual thing a lot of us complain about in the property world, solicitors and the speed of them and so on and so forth. Has it been things like that, or are there any other challenges you can think of?
Well, yeah, it is a bit frustrating to not be able to knock on the solicitor's door and be like, hurry up, hurry up. But we do it the digital way, trying to make them to hurry up either way. But I think the real issue that's overseas, as the overseas investor, is getting the finance to work.
Right.
Because we don't get the same interest rates on the mortgage. So that's to actually get deals that stack up with the finance that we can get.
Yeah, and plus now when they put in the non-UK directors, that's an additional 2% for us
on the stamp duty.
On the stamp duty. So, but at the same time, like me and Emily say, we're holding it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, let's say if our ROI is getting 14%, and then it turns out now from this is the new one from March. The 2% additional, let's say if we get 12%, it's still good, it's still cash flowing, it's still appreciate, and in time we will get better rates because we know people that have been in the property game longer than us, and they have started to get rates like you guys almost, and then we will be able to take like deals that we couldn't take before. So always long term.
Yeah, it's a long-term game, so it's no rush. We're buying to keep, and those 2%, it is what it is actually. Like, we can't do anything about it. So as long as they cash flow good, they will pay themselves off.
That's it. You're just going to factor it in, just like anything else. Factor it in, look at the numbers, see what you're comfortable with and move it forward. Yeah. Is there specific locations in the UK that you always invest in? Do you move around? Is there any hot spots that you really tend to like?
So in the beginning, we were like, okay, we're gonna keep to one area, because that's what people say, keep to one area. But then we were like, we don't live there, so I mean, it doesn't matter, if the deal is good, the deal is good.
Yeah.
So we try to, instead of just keeping us to one area, we try to keep us to the either the commute cities or in the cities around, just to be assured that okay, the fundamentals are there, and the properties won't be empty if it's a good standard. So we're in Swansea. That's where we have our rent HMOs, and then the properties that we're buying now, one is in Sheffield and one in Leeds.
Yeah. So we're looking at where the train gonna go.
Yeah, the HS2.
Right, gotcha.
So pretty much around that area. From my point of view, I feel like the closer you can get to Birmingham, the better, because London and Birmingham is gonna be so
like a twin city.
Yeah, exactly. That connection.
And I think that's really funny, because when we were in the UK, when we were driving, and because you're always saying the south, the north, and like after you pass Birmingham, the north, and we're looking at the map, and we're like, what? How can that be? It's a big gap.
It's a very big gap.
So yeah, it's quite funny.
Fantastic. And looking at the future, is there any things you've got a real desire to be involved in? I'd really like to do a land deal, or not a bigger HMO, or no, I would like such and such, or a conversion. Is there little specialities within the property world that you have as a dream, as a desire?
Yeah, we're looking at going to the conversion side. Right. And especially now when they changed with all of the permitted developments.
Permitted, yes.
Yeah. So we're looking into that and looking at deals, but we're probably going to do a smaller one first, a smaller conversion, and then go on to bigger stuff. And for the vision far ahead is bigger complex of apartments, of course.
Skyscrapers is mine.
Oh dear.
I can do like this.
He loves skyscrapers, and he's gonna put a bar on top of it.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm gonna invite you, Richard, so you can come and see the rooftop bar.
Oh, that sounds nice. That sounds very nice.
That's actually what we're looking at to do now, a conversion of something, right. And title split the apartments, just to have more options on the way out.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, with the permitted developments, there's so many opportunities. It's an incredible landscape. It really is. Tell me this, let's look backwards. The two of you are here now. You've done an amazing job building your lives, building your businesses, so on and so forth. If you were able to, phone yourselves back at that stage and use the wisdom that you've built up, use the lessons that you've learned, is there anything you would tell yourselves to change or try differently, or not do, or do? What pops into your head?
Yeah, he's pointing at me to go first.
I want to hear.
Yeah, you want to hear what I say. I'm gonna say I would call myself back then and say, go for it. Don't overanalyze stuff, because I'm always analyzing everything to the bone. So maybe a little bit of overanalyzing. I would tell myself not to do that. Jump head first and bridge as much as you can in the beginning. It will work out. Don't worry about it. Just make sure the numbers work. Yeah. Bridge so you can go further with the capital you have.
Right, nice one. Anything different from yourself, Nana?
I think she covered most. I guess more networking. That in the beginning we were more cautious about networking, but we're just getting better at it. And yeah, like Emily mentioned, just go. You'll figure it out, and then
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, you figure it out as long as the numbers are correct, like Emily said.
Yeah, as long as the numbers work, just go for it, because it's always going to be something holding you back or something you're unsure of, and you want everything to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect.
No.
Something will pop up that you didn't expect it to do.
Yeah.
And you just need to solve it when it does. You can't predict what's going to happen.
Yeah, as an entrepreneurs, you're normally problem solvers. That you should just we played too much in the defense before, but that's life. So that's why I always advise people that are starting that just go as long as the numbers are good.
Yeah. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. I'm going to ask you where you think the market itself is going to go now that as we come out of the coronavirus pandemic and things are starting to return to normality. I'll get your opinion where you think those are going. But I think what you've shared there is so crucial, and you're true. But we all do it. We all overanalyze. We're all kind of too risk averse. We don't want to be stupid. We're not gamblers. We do want to get the numbers right, but we hold ourselves back so much. And if we were just a bit more optimistic, a bit more focused on just being a problem solver, we would analyze those things a lot quicker and solve them a lot quicker. It's a great lesson you've passed on there. So what is your thoughts? Market, economy, the UK property, where are we going? Are you predicting a crash? Are you predicting a big rise? Are you predicting long and slow and steady? What do we see with the crystal ball?
Yeah, that crystal ball, I think that's broken. I don't think it works, to be honest. I feel like every expert in the world has had it wrong when it comes to COVID. And I think that's because we haven't been through this before. It's not a normal economy crisis that we're going through. So it's very, very hard to say. And as long as the countries are printing money on all the time, like every day, new money out in the world, it's really hard to say what's going to happen. And it feels like they gave money away to the people, expecting them to use it to buy stuff. And instead everybody put that money into the stock market, because why am I gonna buy new clothes for it? I don't need any new clothes. I'm isolated in my home. So the stock market went like crazy instead. So it's a crazy world right now. It is. I feel like it needs to correct itself.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I feel like. It needs to pretty much correct itself. If it's going to be a crash, I'm not so sure, but I think it would correct itself a little bit. That's what I think.
I agree a lot of the points that Emily is saying, but at the same time, the system, the old system that we are taught that, okay, this indicators says it's going to be a crash, that's gone, because as long as the governments are in the free market, like they're regulating it. There's not the central banks anymore, because it's the government that are backing everyone. They're backing the bank, they're backing the business, they're backing, so they cannot fail. And now I think it's so big. So if they stop backing, the system will crash, and then it will be like havoc. And I don't think they will let that turn, because before, when let's say if you asked me for a year ago, I would say, yeah, we're heading into a crash. But now I don't think so, because it's so much, this governments have so much interest that this will keep up. So now, like, the furlough is ending. I don't think let's say if people don't get jobs, I don't think the government gonna say, okay, that's life, let's head into a recession. I don't think so, but we'll see. What's your thought?
No, I see exactly what you're talking about, with the fact that everyone predicted this gigantic thing, a big climactic moment, a crash, a fall off a cliff. and it just never came. It just kept getting pushed and pushed further and further and further. But you know, Emily, you're right. You know, there's got to be some kind of correction, some kind of adjustment. But I think that always happens, doesn't it? We're always involved in cycles. We're always involved in booms and busts. They might not be as exaggerated as you think or extreme as you think, but it's constantly changing. And I think if we're going to be those problem solvers in amongst it, then it doesn't actually matter, because we're just going to keep solving the problems for us and for other people around us.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's what I think as well. And also, if you buy one property at the crash and one here, it equals themselves out. It's pretty much like they say with stocks, like buy all the time, then it doesn't matter where the stock goes.
Yeah.
It's that longer term investment that you're doing. Yeah.
If you're gonna flip, then you might want to be careful and really have a look into what the market is doing.
I wouldn't flip in this current market. People are doing it. They're very brave. I will be, because like you mentioned, we don't know where the market's going.
Great stuff, fascinating stuff, absolutely brilliant. Listen, I'm really grateful that both of you managed to give me the time again so we could hear your story and we can get it out there to the wider world. It's a tremendous example of what's possible, you know, bringing together all those locations with America and Sweden and UK property market in the middle. It's fantastic, and all that you're doing, the way that you're focused on your family and values and time being so precious. It's a fantastic story to share with other people. I really thank you for doing that, and wish you all the very best in the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, today on the show from Miracle Properties, Emily and Nana, thank you very much.
Thank you for having us a second time, and I hope we will come a third time and we can give us the information from the US. And this has been very fun.
That's right. The third show will be from a bar on a US skyscraper. There you are. Thank you very much, folks. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I did. Remember, with the guests that you just saw, go into the show notes for the page, because all of their links are there so that you can get in touch and to get more information. And talking about getting more information, more guests, more insights, more knowledge, etc., make sure you're subscribed. Get the subscription done, get the notifications on, and then we'll always keep in touch with you every single time a brand new show is going to come out. So thanks for tuning to This Week in Property.